Hey guys, I am Lana. This is from Corporate Crystals. We're back for another video. Today's video, we're going to be doing a video on masculine and feminine energy, and just kind of like building a foundation for some future videos I'm about to do. For a lot of people, this might be redundant information or kind of like a review. Love that. For others, it is good foundational information to make sure you can kind of understand what's up in regards to these two energies. So let's start with like why this is relevant right now. So the planetary ascension that's happening on our planet, what is happening is the energetic grid of the planet is being rebalanced. The energetic grid of the planet is being put back to its original creation, the original blueprint that God intended for this planet to have energetically. That original blueprint had an equal balance of masculine and feminine energy. And there has been a big imbalance where it has been masculine energy dominant for quite some time. So when we say divine feminine rising or grand rising or this great awakening, what we're talking about is the returning of the divine mother, divine mother energy, which is feminine energy. And that returning of that energy then helps us balance back out to eliminate the masculine dominant energy on our planet, and create more of a balance so that our planet is more balanced. We as individuals are more balanced. And of course, we are back connected to God's source itself. So that is kind of like the big picture and why it matters. So when we talk about God's source, what we're saying is the energy source that is God, at the closest connection point, the closest energetic point to God's source energy, there is masculine and feminine energy, the Holy Father and the Holy Mother, the Divine Father, the Divine Mother. Those energies come together and create a third, which is the Holy Trinity, the Son, the Holy Son, the Holy Child. And it creates life as well, right? So on an energetic level, in order for the time matrix or our planet to be created, it required masculine energy and feminine energy to create Earth, to create life, to create all of this that we participate in. And then as a manifestation in the third dimension, the symbolism is masculine vessel with a feminine vessel come together and energetically create life, a third, a son, a daughter, a child. So it's symbolic. The masculine and the feminine, the husband, the wife, the male, the female, they come together symbolically to create life. And that is a manifestation of what is happening at the highest energetic frequencies within our time matrix, closest to God source energy. So it's all like what's happening at the macro is happening in the micro. So I wanted to clear that up. Also, we're talking energetics. So when people are trying to say that like religions love to push the narrative that like, I guess the right way of putting this is like the queer community is shamed on our planet still in a lot of ways due to religious trauma. And what I would tell you is that's a fallacy, because the queer community is loved and supported for their authentic selves, no matter who they are and how they express themselves, as long as they are connected to God's source energy, because it's energetic. Masculine energy and feminine energy, which is within all of us, come together. And even if they can't create a life, they still can create through life source energy. They still can create and reconnect back to God's source, right? So everyone is part of God's kingdom. And the masculine and feminine balance within all of us make it to where if we have a heavier feminine energy then I'm going to be attracting masculine partners, right? So it doesn't matter my gender, my energy is what matters. And that's where the religious trauma and the religious dogma of shaming the entire queer community is very satanic, because God completely disagrees, because it's all energetic, okay? So I wanted to say that because I'm an ally. Additionally, I wanted to get into how within all of us we have masculine and feminine energy. So again, when you incarnate and you traverse through the dimensions, you have to balance your own energy, your masculine and your feminine, at each like dimensional consciousness. And as you do that, you kind of go through the dimensions and clear your energy field within each of them to expand yourself more, to carry more light, to ascend closer to God's source. And that at some point, whether it's in multiple lifetimes or within one, you will then get to the 12th dimension. The 12th dimension allows you to go through Hieros Gamos, which is a fully balanced masculine and feminine energetic within your own vessel and your own consciousness. And that equal balance then basically has you merge back with God's source, and you are a god at that point, like an embodied, fully embodied god or goddess, merged back with the garment of God at 12th dimension, and they call it Hieros Gamos. So that's kind of the journey from like a big picture perspective. But what I wanted to talk about is the energies and kind of get into some of the differences between them. So I'm sharing a visual here, and this is from diviningbeauty.com, which I don't have any affiliation with. I just really liked their visual, so just side note. But within the middle of this visual, you'll see oneness. And on the top, we have feminine characteristics, and on the bottom, we have masculine characteristics. And this is kind of like a representation of, let's call it Hieros Gamos, right? So when you get to a balanced place within your own feminine and masculine energy, then you're connected to oneness. You're connected to unity consciousness. You're connected to the fact that we are all connected. We are brothers and sisters. We are gods and goddesses, creations, unique soul fractals, all connected through energy, and all here to uplift one another and support one another, because we are brothers and sisters, okay? So this oneness section is talking about the healthy kind of like aspects of feminine and masculine energy. So the oneness, this is kind of like high frequency aspects of feminine energy and masculine energy. So safety, awareness, respect, dynamism, I always say that word wrong, connection, balance, open-hearted in nature, feminine, very, very feminine. And then masculine, freedom, humble confidence, synergy, authenticity, powerful, contentment, life force, and clarity, okay? So when we're talking about the Holy Father, the Divine Father, life force is really important, because we're talking about solar energy. We're talking about the solar masculine. We're talking about how literally the masculine energy is very connected to the sun. And masculine energy is all about like action, doing, etc. Now, when we go to the feminine, we're talking about open-hearted in nature. And one of the things I love most about that is the feminine energy creates Earth. She creates the planet. She creates the physical manifestation of our planet and us. Okay, so just like when a man and a woman come together and conceive a child, the physical manifestation is coming out of the feminine gender, but energy. But the man is also required, so it is equal 100%. But God trusts in the feminine as the creatrix to bring in the physical manifestation into the third dimension. And so the feminine is literally a portal between realms, okay? And the masculine just isn't. It's not his role. It just frankly isn't. So that doesn't mean that the masculines should not also have their own balance of feminine energy within them. They have to have that in order to be balanced as an individual, and also to be able to see their brothers and sisters through an open-hearted way. They have to be able to respect nature. They have to value connection. They have to have respect for everyone that they come in contact with. And they have to have awareness of themselves, right? Those are all feminine aspects that have been missing on our planet. And so when we talk about this oneness and the balance between it, it's very important for the overall health of not only our planet, because the feminine aspect, the divine mother, I call her Sophia, some people call her lots of things, but she's the soul of our time matrix. She's the soul of our planet. She created Earth. She is the creatrix which birthed the physical manifestation of our planet. So the feminine is connected to nature because nature is part of Earth, which we are all part of. The planet itself, we are connected to. It is our mother. So when we say Mother Nature, it's because literally she is our lifeline. She created us. We are connected to her. She is a physical manifestation in the third dimension of, or whichever dimension, of God's creation. Okay, so that is the center point. So then let's go to this right side: logical, visionary, practical, authority, courageous, presence, attentive, focused, structure, accomplishment, willpower, purposeful, organized, intellectual, etc. Protection, big one. Independent. These are all masculine characteristics, okay? So you could see doing, scientific, rational planning, like this is very logical. So the masculine is very much supposed to operate out of logic. The masculine, it has to make sense to him. He has to have kind of like a plan. He can't just like flow through life the way that the feminine can, easier. You know what I mean? Like the masculine is the provider because he is the one who's connected to like logic and protection and like strategy and analysis and doing. So he actually has the life force energy more so than the feminine in order to go do. So God's original blueprint truly was designed that anyone who is embodying a masculine energetic, they have life force energy within them to do, to like be more logical, to have a heavier kind of like balance of masculine energy within them, which is all of these things over on the right that I'm reading out loud. So then if we go to the feminine is about flow, mystery, nearness, creativity, intuitive, tenderness, flexibility, receptivity, adaptability, responsive, comfortable in the unknown, body-based truth, that's huge, sensuality, interconnected, emotional, release, spontaneity, inclusive, sweetness, nurturing, gentle, trusting, inspirational, caring, being instead of doing, right? So these are feminine aspects. And the key here is not that men cannot embody these as well. Absolutely not. Men need to embody these because they have within themselves a feminine aspect. So just like if they are kind of like pushing away their own feminine aspect, then they're not going to be very caring. They're not going to be very nurturing. They're not going to be very respectful. They're not going to like care about connection, right? And that's like a lot of people who are narcissists, what is happening is they have disconnected from their heart. They are not connected to their own feminine, so they don't give a crap how they make people feel because they value authority or, whatever. They have their own agenda, so they're doing what's best for them, right? So people who have these imbalances, we see them play out in society. It's some of the biggest issues on our planet. Now, on the flip side, women or feminine energy still need to be leveraging their masculine energy to protect themselves, to strategize, to be logical, to not do everything off of emotions, because I'm sure we've all been there. That'll take you to some places you don't want to go. To be their own authority, because they are sovereign beings themselves that are not property. They are not objects. Their masculine energy requires them to have their own back and protect themselves. Okay. And then also value things like accomplishments and a purpose. Your purpose as a feminine energy is not just be an object or, like a side piece for your masculine to use you as a trophy. No, you have your own purpose. And even if that purpose is to be an incredible mother or wife or whatever, that is coming from your own authority of claiming your purpose because you know yourself so well, right? So these are required for both individuals, no matter what their main embodiment is. If you're a masculine heavy individual, gender is irrelevant, then you're going to need to be working on ensuring your feminine is balanced with that. And if you are a feminine embodiment, you're going to be needing to work on your masculine stepping up for you to make sure that you're not having your imbalance there. That being said, gender, again, is irrelevant. There are women who are heavy in their masculine energy, and there are men heavy in their feminine energy. And this is one of the biggest issues on our planet, is our time matrix, the matrix, which is our culture, our society, and all the systems and programs within it, very masculine dominant right now. Excuse me. And because it is masculine dominant, as the dynamic on the planet changes, where the energetics are balanced out to have more of the feminine because she is home now energetically, these systems and programs that were designed with an imbalance where they were heavily masculine operating, they will no longer be able to operate that way, because all of us are going to be tapping into systems and programs that will be more aligned with the balance that now includes the feminine as well. So our society and the systems and the programs that were built off of mostly masculine energy, as we all connect deeper to our own feminine and the feminine of the planet, those systems and programs will crumble. That is what is happening on our planet. Okay. So each individual is going through their own journey of this, where if you are a masculine gender, if you're a man, but you tend to be more passive and you're not stepping into your own leadership, your own authority, you're not leveraging courage, you are, etc., then you're going to be working on both energies. But for passive men, they're likely going to have to be working on tapping more into their masculinity. For women who have been forced to operate in a system and in a matrix that is very masculine dominant, it has pulled women into their masculine energy to protect their family, to protect their children, to protect themselves from the masculine energies, whether that be systems or physical individuals. Okay. So our entire planet was basically inverted. We had men who were more passive and women who were more masculine. And there's a lot of reasons for this from a third dimensional perspective, like war. When people go off into war, the feminine has to step up and she has to play multiple roles, right? So there's things like that play into this. There's also, the patriarchy, and the patriarchy, of course, suppresses the feminine, and I'll be getting into some of that stuff over here. But All of this stuff plays into this imbalance. But in order for our planet to balance back out, which is it's already like happened, it now will be impacting our systems, our programs, and all of us as individuals. So you're going to be seeing people, if they're choosing to not proactively balance their own energies out, then their life will be doing it for them. Okay. So let's go over to this far right side. This is masculine, like wounded masculine energy, toxic masculinity, when they say things like that, this far right side. So men who are in their wounded masculine energy, casual sex without intimacy, testosterone overdrive, controlling, they're constantly working, constriction, goal over process, hyper efficient, macho, arrogant, I'm the best, lack of trust. Notice how all of these things are not connected to the feminine at all, right? This is narcissistic characteristics. So narcissism has become a very hot topic on our planet. First of all, from a psychological perspective, we shouldn't be diagnosing people with like what they have or what they don't have. But I will tell you, very heavy amounts of narcissism are on our planet because we have individuals not connected to their own feminine energy. They're not connected to their heart at all. They do not care about other people because they don't even care about themselves. They don't love themselves so much that they don't love other people. When you're not connected to your own feminine, then you're not connected to one another. You're not operating with God. You're not operating from a place where you're viewing every human being as your brother and sister. You're operating from a place which is, here's the key word, selfish. Okay? When you are operating from a selfish place, you are in wounded masculine energy, and your wounded masculine energy is hurting other people because you do not value other people. And the root of that is because you don't actually even value yourself. Because in order for you to be doing all of these behaviors, you don't value yourself enough, because there's insecurities and wounding that is making you have to have power struggles or control in order for you to feel stronger, more powerful, and in control of your life. Okay. These individuals tend to be harsh. They punish to motivate, isolating, overstructured, rigid, overwork, enforcer, delay pleasure, blowhard, power over, selfish, again, perfectionism, controller, dogmatic, distancer, intensity, guarded, suspicious, competitive, abuser. Our planet is full of abusers, and most of, or everybody who's operating from that place is in their wounded masculine energy. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Let's go to the other side. Well, it's not good, but you get my point. We're going to move on. So on the far left, we have wounded feminine energy. No libido. So we're talking about low sex drive. Why? It's because they don't feel safe. Okay. Codependency, because they don't feel safe. So they latch on to others because they themselves don't have safety and respect for themselves. Diffused affection, numbing out, self-doubt, vegging out, despair, overgiving, overcaring. All of these things are stemming from a lack of being connected to themselves as a feminine. And because they're not connected to themselves and they're not loving themselves, they're overgiving to seek love from others. They're doubting themselves because they don't love themselves. They are codependent because they don't feel valuable and worthy and enough as themselves, standing alone, right? So they seek external of them for validation in a different way than the masculine. Sloppiness, chaotic, victim thinking, lack of motivation, martyr, naive, having no opinion, being unsure, submissiveness, being chaste, overindulging, lack of agency, addicted to downers, blind trust and boundarylessness, no willpower, no voice. So another thing that isn't on this list is, but it ties into all of this, is like the victim thinking And like the leveraging of kind of like emotions, because a wounded feminine has lots of emotions, but she is likely martyring herself to not stand up for herself. She's likely over caring with other people in hopes that they don't leave her or whatever it is. She's codependent on others in order for her to not have to like stand alone. So she will emotionally manipulate people or seduce through her body and her sensuality in order to remain codependent, to not have to go into despair, to not have to take any authority of her own life and responsibility for her own life because she herself thinks that she's a victim. Okay. She has a lack of motivation to do it herself. So she'd rather stay codependent on those around her because she has self-doubt. She doesn't believe in herself. Okay. So all of these energies tie together. And then typically what's happening in the third dimension is we have wounded masculines pairing up with wounded feminines. And those are the people who are out there, casual sex without intimacy, right? That's pairing up with codependency. So we have someone who's codependent on others, wounded feminine, who then is like, yeah, okay, I'll take whatever I can get because casual sex is better than being alone. Then we have someone who is a controlling wounded masculine who then meets up with a wounded feminine who has a lack of agency, is naive, and a martyr. And there you go, the perfect balance for a masculine to just do whatever the heck he wants and completely abuse the feminine. And guess what? The feminine is letting him do it because she's martyring herself, not standing up for herself, not speaking her truth, etc. Right? Her submissiveness is lacking protecting herself because she needs to tap more into her own masculine energy. Wounded masculine energy, the macho, harsh, abusive selfishness, that's because they literally hate themselves so much because they are so disconnected from their own heart and their own happiness that the only way that they find pleasure is through material means. It's through boosting their ego by talking about how many women they can score or how much money they have or how physically attractive the person standing next to them is in order for them to feel like they are more of a man. So they're selfish and they are like macho and arrogant as a defense mechanism, because deep within themselves, there's such a deep imbalance happening that the only way for them to feel more powerful is to suppress the feminine. And guess what? The only feminines that will accept that behavior are wounded feminines who are martyring themselves, who are like submissive to, their own demise. They're codependent. They are in despair and they doubt themselves so deeply and they have no boundaries to the point where they're willing to accept that behavior from a masculine because they'd prefer to just not be alone, right? That is what is happening on the third dimensional level. These wounded energies on the far right and far left are where we have been operating as a collective for a very long time. And slowly, as you go through the dimensions and expand your consciousness to the higher consciousness levels, you navigate out of these wounded masculine and feminine programs, and you get into more healthy, balanced masculine and feminine programs. And then once you get to the higher dimensions, that's when we're talking divine and sacred masculine and feminine energies. It is a journey and it is a process that individuals have to choose to go through. But majority of our collective has been operating from wounded feminine and wounded masculine. And there's no shame in this because even us twins who are in divine feminine or divine masculine energy, we had to go through these dynamics and these wounded aspects of ourself in order for us to understand them. At least I know I did. I've literally been in every single energy that you can be. I'd get in one relationship and it would be operating in one way. I'd see how I show up in that energy, get into another relationship, and now I'm in a completely different energy and different role based off of my partner's energy. So the way that we operate together in a partnership also dictates our energy. So I knew very quickly, I guess I can stop showing this. I knew very quickly after a few relationships in my life, I was like, I have such a strong masculine energy, because I had a single mom as my mother. So she was very much in her masculine energy, and she is a go-getter who like busted her butt for her family. Now, because she was in her masculine energy, she couldn't really relax into a lot of her feminine qualities. So I picked those up from other places, but because of that strong masculine like role in my life, because that's my mom who I lived with, I absolutely, when I was with passive men, that masculine energy came out of me very strong because I don't value passive men. To me, that is a man who I can overpower because of how strong my masculine energy is. And I didn't want that relationship. I have been in that relationship. Shout out to any of my exes that I was in that with. I didn't like myself in that energy. I didn't want that. So I then went on a journey to heal myself, to figure out what aspects of myself are missing or are popping up in those relationships, or like, why am I choosing those partners? Because I know that I don't want to be the one in charge. I hate it. It's like I'm desperate to not be in charge. And that is because I have a very, very soft and sensitive feminine core. But my strong masculine presence will absolutely pop out and protect me because it's had to do that basically my whole life. So when you're picking partners, if you are in your masculine energy as a feminine, you're likely going to be attracting passive partners. And if you are picking as a man, if you are in your masculine energy, you're likely going to be attracting feminines who are in their feminine energy. It's a polarity. So if you want a soft, submissive feminine who is connected to her own femininity and her own self in that way to help you then connect with yourself and her more deeply, then guess what? You're going to need to be in your masculine energy. So what's happening on our planet is everyone's pointing fingers at each other, being like, men are the problem, women are the problem. The problem is all of us together. We need to heal our energies and heal our own emotional turmoil, which will then help us balance these energies so we can find our own authentic, energetic, like baseline. And then once we have that, we know who we are so deeply that we know the type of partner that we want. We know the energetics of the partner that we seek. And it's a journey. And that's what we're all navigating through on like our soulmate journeys. Is kind of like trying out a bunch of different energetics and people in relationship to understand, oh, with this partner, I like feeling this way, or I like that he steps up in these ways. I love that in a partner, so I'm seeking men like that. Or I love how women are nurturing and caring and whatever, so I'm looking for a feminine woman who's soft and submissive. No, you're looking for a woman who's connected to her feminine energy, okay? And then for women, we want men so desperately to not be passive and not be like, you know, completely not connected to themselves and others and be so selfish and so disrespectful and abusive. We're desperate for men that are not like that. Well, guess what, women? That means we also need to heal ourselves to stop attracting those men, because the energetics will repel. If you don't want a partner like that, trust me, they're gonna view you as too much. If you are a healed feminine, when you attract a wounded masculine, first of all, he's probably gonna abuse the hell out of you because he wants you to feel like trash about yourself, but you're not. The problem is you intimidate him. He wants you to feel smaller so he can feel bigger because he is in his wounded masculine energy. When you are in your divine feminine energy or your healthy, healed feminine energy, then you're going to have to be navigating through like boundaries to ensure that you stay in that feminine energy while also protecting yourself from masculine energy. Because if a masculine is out of balance, then it will throw you out of balance. And same thing for men. If you want to remain in your strong masculine energy, then you need to stop picking partners that you just like let control everything and let run the show, because that's them taking over those leadership roles and taking authority. And this is why roles are so necessary. And a lot of feminists are not going to like that conversation. There's no one who is more about equality and like feminine empowerment than me. But at the same time, there are roles, because we have to understand our own energy in order to know what role we fit in order to be our like best energetic self authentically, because we all have our own authentic energy and balance. And when you find that, you settle into whatever your role is. And as you're settling into that role, it becomes clear what your role would be with a partner. So you start seeking the partner that fills the opposite role, or the complementary role would be a better way of putting it. So that's what's up. I'm sure a lot of you know this, but I just want to build a foundation because I've got more videos up ahead that are going to be digging into this a little bit. So I hope you guys found this valuable, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, bye-bye.